Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome once again to Kardec Radio, where we are always nourishing. I am Correa, and we gather together on all Kardec Radio platforms every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to study the laws that govern not only our lives, but the entire universe. And where shall we find such laws, beloved friends? In our conscience. But we need effort, repetition, practice. Effort, repetition, and practice. Effort, repetition, and practice in order to align ourselves more greatly with the moral ethical code created by God so as to foster love in our lives. It is with this beautiful proposal in mind dedicated the third part of the Spirit's book to such laws. And it is exactly this beautiful divine code that we are gathered together right here to study tonight and every Tuesday night. Right, Soul Souza? Big kiss to you. Big hug to your friend. Please, everyone who joins us now or on demand, the loving mentors who both prepared this moment very carefully for us and lovingly, and who also count on our good feelings, good thoughts, and good intentions to treat us, treat our loved ones, illuminate our homes, and utilize of our homes at this hour as an outpost to search to the scarnets who are also seeking to nourish their souls. So this is an educational moment in both realms. What a blessing. So welcome everyone once again in both realms. And tonight we are going to study question 887 that Kardec asked the Spirit mentors. Kardec's question, then read the answer from the illuminated minds, and then bring a couple of highlights for ourselves. Thank you for the kisses, dear soul. You are always shining through with much love. Thank you, dear friend. And let us begin. Kardec asks, Jesus also said, love evil, but isn't loving our enemies contrary to our natural tendencies? And doesn't antagonism derive from a lack of sympathy between spirits? Excellent question. We often experience conflict inside of ourselves because of this proposal to love those with whom we are still building illuminated spirits comes to us tonight to bring us peace of mind and peace of heart, because we no longer need to be conflicted or guilty. Let us listen to the beautiful answer from the illuminated spirits. They say, undoubtedly, one cannot feel tender and passionate affection for one. What Jesus meant. To love one's enemies is to forgive them and to return good for evil. That way, we raise ourselves above them. By seeking vengeance, we plunge ourselves underneath them. Wow, so much food for the soul here. Let us begin. Make peace with ourselves and bless every one of our relationships that have been of a challenging nature for us. Why? Because Master Jesus clarified the spirit mentors, understands that we are still learning to love indistinctively. And until we reach that, to not feel the same feelings or bonds of affection for everyone. Master Jesus understands that it is hard for us to devote the same tenderness to someone we love versus someone we are still learning to love. So, Master Jesus comes tonight to bring our hearts peace by saying, I understand. And the experimenters go further. They know that we are not expected to have equal feelings towards everyone. So, phew, what a relief. It's okay to have a diversity of feelings inside of our hearts because there are people with whom we have already cultivated beautiful, loving bonds, friendship, and fraternity throughout many centuries. And there are others to whom we are still learning to open our hearts. So it's okay to have different degrees of openness towards one another. But what does Jesus ask of us? Jesus asks that though we may have different levels of affection for one another, give each other, that we give each other a little break. But forgiveness is a hard topic for most of us on earth. It is a lesson that is in everyone's educational curriculum. In other words, this is a spiritual milestone for the spirit, for sure, for all of us who are. Is, Carol, how do we achieve such a feeling of forgiveness? We can achieve it on many different ways using a number of different techniques that we learn from the spirit mentors, from studying Spiritism. From studying Spiritism, beloved friends, we learn that thought is life. What does that mean? That our thoughts have a magnetic quality, electric magnetic quality. What does that refer to? Electric refers to the fact that our thoughts are living energy that pulsate like this. And magnetic refers to the fact that thoughts of similar nature attract one another. So we are constantly, whether we are aware of connections with other minds, be they incarnate or discarnate. There are only two types of connections we can build: mental connections. André Luiz explains this to us in the book Mechanism of Mediumship. The types of connections we can make are either constructive or positive, or destructive in between. So if we start identifying the kinds of thoughts we emanate towards one another, we can start working with our mental production, co-creation here, and mold it for the good. This is how we attune with the good and co-create the good. We are responsible mental vibrations. So, for instance, if I look at a person, if we look at a particular person and we say, oh, well, this person is always like this person doesn't know how to speak well, this person doesn't know how to measure her words, this person, here they come again. If we look at this particular person and label them in this particular way 10 times, we are creating a destructive connection between them and ourselves. A connection, a mental connection of negative nature. And because our negative thoughts connect to the mind of that other person, for that person perhaps repeating the behavior we disliked. So part of forgiving others starts with learning to manage the mind, learning to co-create different mental images. If a particular person is challenging to us and is saying, oh, this person, but this person, but this person, but there's no hope, but there's no way, but there's no solution, but in order to learn or practice forgiveness, we need to get rid of the but. We need to create new mental images for ourselves in the movie of our minds. In the book, we are the directors of the movie of our lives. And so we can edit the movie, the scenes that we are creating here. So if we say, oh, person X has a horrible voice, we dislike her voice. If every time we look at her, we feel this way, in order to build, in order to become more fraternal towards her, we need to change the way in which we look at her. We need to change our mental picture of her. Did you guys know that on a cell phone here, we happen to have ours right here. If we open up we have filters available that we can use. If we decide to press the edit button of a picture, there are filters we can use. If we press the button of filters, we can choose to make the image more colorful, less colorful. We can edit it. With our minds, we can use a different filter to perceive that person differently. So next time we see that person, what type of filter are we going to use? Are we going to use the pessimistic filter of no hope for that person? Or are we going to select a different filter in the menu of our lives? We all have button here. The added button, Spiritism explains to us, is our goodwill. This is our added button. In the book Thought and Life by Emmanuel says that the will is the manager of our minds. So if we want to choose a different filter or make the image brighter, you see here, is our will. So we have to be willing to edit. Once we are willing to edit, we can pray to our guardian angels to help boost our willingness. Once we are willing to edit, then we open the menu. And instead of only looking at that person as someone who has a terrible voice, the positive on that person, we will say, yes, this person may have a voice that does not appeal to us, but this person is diligent. This person is capable. This person is disciplined. We admire her for that. But then someone can say, dear Carol, what if someone on many levels? Then we can use the same editing feature, but now on a multidimensional level. How so? We can come to understand, we can choose to understand the person by using the approach of Master Jesus. They did not know what they were doing. Beloved friends, when we reincarnate, we don't reincarnate alone. We are connected to minds who love us, but we are also connected to spirits who we may have hurt in the past. And we may reincarnate in a hostile environment with spirits whom we are learning to love still. Different types of pressure that we are dealing with, and that sometimes not even we are aware of. So we may choose not to take the person's action against us personally. We can choose to say to ourselves, God loves us. And if God allowed for us to go through abuse, it is because we would emerge stronger and we would emerge with lessons that are unforgettable for our spirit. And also because in the past, we likely have abused others as well. So in this life, we are on the receiving end. Does that mean that we do not protect ourselves? We are meant to protect ourselves always because life is precious. This is not an acclamation of abuse in any way, but this is just a lenses that Spiritism offers to us, so we are no longer prisoners of what happens to us, because we have the edit button here. Our mind is much more powerful than any cell phone we could have. So we can choose to edit that information differently and to reorganize, therefore, our emotions. And our dear Saul Souza is saying, with the light of Spiritism in my life, I have learned to forgive myself and so many people in the way. It took time. Now, if I die today, I will go in peace. Yes, dear soul, you said it all. Exactly. We are forgiving. The fact that we forgive does not mean that we accept what the other person has done. Does not mean that we have to be best friends with this person in this lifetime, but it means that we choose to no longer carry that often suffocates us. We set ourselves free from the suffocating feeling, knowing that that person who may have hurt us is sick to the point that they are not able to realize or feel the pain that they caused. So we feel compassion for them since they are completely blind. If they knew what they can rest assured that they would not engage in such actions. For instance, if those who kill the physical body of another brother and sister of ours knew that they may return to the earth with a mutilated body, they would not commit such actions. If those who use their voice, use power, those who are in command, if they knew that later on they may come back in another life without the ability to speak at all, for instance, they would not be committing the infractions against human law and divine law that they are committing. No, they would not. They do so, and we have done so ourselves because we choose. Now that we know more and we know better, it is our responsibility to be happier and to make happier choices. So forgiveness is an investment on our own happiness because we are setting ourselves free from a weight that no longer belongs to us. So what another exercise that we can do to visualize ourselves. Let us show it to everyone. 1 second. Another exercise that we can do, dear friends. Yes, dear soul, it is because life is precious that it's worth reorganizing and editing our emotions. So in addition, our mind filter, we can also do an exercise that we learned with our dear Vanessa Celoni and mentor Joseph. We can picture the continuum of life before us. Imagine that this is our past, this is our present moment, and this, all the rest to infinity is eternity. Time, the present. We have experienced the breaking of our relationship, or a great disappointment, or a separation from a loved one, beloved friends. We can picture ourselves above the current line of time, going towards the future. We can picture we together with our reconciliated, already truly loving one another. We can picture that other person at peace. We can picture ourselves at peace by imagining, visualizing ourselves in a later time in the continuum of life eternal. And someone may say, but dear Carol, isn't this fantasy? Right, dear friends? And our response is no, this is not fantasy. How do we know? Because we are destined to love one another. So this is said not by us, but by Master Jesus, who made this recommendation to us himself. So let us practice. Let us view the scriptures by thinking often that we may still have a little bit of difficulty loving. And let us picture ourselves editing a particular scene of our mind movie. Then picturing ourselves in a later time in the continuum of life, already reconciliated with them, and let us practice inside of ourselves that this person is a child of love, destined to be fueled with love in every possible way by the Creator above. So, 3 beautiful exercises for us so we can rid ourselves from moral weight that no longer belong to us. 1. The movie of our minds. Our minds are better than the latest technology in Hollywood. We have an enhanced Hollywood studio right inside of our minds. Let us pick one person and edit a particular scene, seeking for the good in that scenario. What have we learned from this situation? What have we learned about ourselves? What have we learned about virtues in this situation? How have we ourselves become stronger and better because of this situation? Once we are done with the movie editing, let us then make a sequel to that movie. First, we added the movie of this life, then we make a sequel. The sequel is already visualizing a life or in another life where all conflicts are fully resolved. In that way, we help the universal love to materialize this new situation for ourselves. Got it, dear friends? Let us do it together. We will do it as well. Beautiful exercise. Let us focus on telling ourselves that that person is also a child of love. So let us write here. Exercise 1. Edit our life movie. Exercise 1 second, and we will write exercise 2 as well. Exercise 2. Visualize reconciliation taking place at any moment in time. In exercise 3, and others, especially those with whom we are reconciliating. We are children of love. And let us feel it. So, what a blessing, dear friends, for us to have Spiritism that offers us so many tools to our souls and to progress all the more beginning now. Why wait until we discarnate? Why not invest in our good for immortality right here and right now? What a blessing that we can go to the gym of the soul together, dear friends. We will be exercising the soul with one another, right? So for now that we are enrolled in the school of life together and progressing side by side, thanking God also for the blessing of the light of discernment that free ourselves from shackles that no longer belong to us. And we pray that we can be instruments of God's love every day, more today than yesterday, and more tomorrow than today. Continue, dear friends, to stay connected right here on Kardec Radio, because right here there's always more to nourish our souls. Thank you, beloved friends, for this blessed opportunity. We wish you many blessings, and we cannot wait to see you again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Bye for now, dear friends.